All right, so I want to go ahead and talk about Shedeur Sanders being drafted in the fifth round of the 2025 NFL draft because that was surprising to me that he dropped that far. When I watched the film on Shedeur, I didn't see him as a top 10 pick. I thought maybe late first at best, but more of a second round pick. However, when he dropped to the third day in the fifth round, that was surprising to me. Now, what I want to do in this video is I want to go ahead and help people understand what it is that maybe was on Shedeur's film, the All 22 film, that caused teams in the NFL to have a different way of looking at Shedeur compared to what you were seeing on broadcast TV. So let's go ahead and dive into the film. I'm going to use a couple examples from Shedeur's gameplay to give you an idea of what NFL teams, the coaches, and the scouts may have been looking at compared to what people were seeing on their social media timeline. I'm going to show you a play that I kept seeing at the start of everyone's Shedeur highlight videos that they posted. But here's the thing. This isn't a highlight for Shedeur. Let me go ahead and show you the play. It's a good play. Shedeur takes a three-step drop and he hits Travis Hunter on the hitch. But that's really it. You can see that Travis Hunter, he makes the cornerback miss on the tackle, makes the safety miss, and then he outruns everyone to the end zone. So this is actually more, to me, a Travis Hunter highlight than anything that Shedeur did. I'm not criticizing Shedeur on the throw at all, but I wouldn't be like, wow, this is a great highlight play. Let me ask you this question, and let's ask this. If Travis Hunter had been tackled by that cornerback instead of being able to escape the tackle, would we have put this as a highlight for him in a highlight reel? And the answer is no. So why did I show this play? Well, unfortunately, a lot of people, they don't totally understand what they're seeing. They see broadcast versions, they see something big happen, and they think, wow, what a great play by this person. And by posting plays like this where receivers make someone miss, you can actually create a false narrative of just how good the quarterback is playing. And that's something that I think helped people get a different idea from what the NFL GMs, coaches, and scouts were seeing on the All 22 film. I'm now going to show you a couple plays and point out what NFL teams would see on the film that maybe people don't realize play a part in the evaluation of quarterbacks. This is the All 22 film. This is the coach's film, and it shows all 11 offensive players and all 11 defensive players from the sideline. And then on the end zone view, it shows the box, the offensive and defensive line, linebackers, quarterback, running back. This film, it gives you a better idea of what is happening on each play with regards to the blocking, route running, is the back hitting the hole correctly, quarterback, are they going through their progression reads, all sorts of things. Now, this is the first play against Utah, and you'll see that Shedeur, well, he makes a bad read and is intercepted, but that's not what I want to focus on. Let's go ahead and go back to the beginning of the play. What I want you to notice, and you might not have noticed this, is that Shedeur hits the top of his drop and he just stops. Instead of hitching up into the pocket, he just stops right there. Instead, what you would like to see, because he needs to go through, a lot of quarterback play is tied to your feet, where you're taking your steps, and then if you don't like something early, then you hitch up to go to your next read. Here, he's just stationary. He has hit the top of his drop, and he's not moving. What you would like to see from Shedeur, and let me go ahead, move my chair out of the way, is when he drops back 1, 2, 3, instead of just stopping here and waiting, pitch up into the pocket. And by doing so, that would help his left tackle, who is going to be blocking this defensive end. It would help his left tackle be able to keep that defensive end further away from him and basically take him what we would call around the hoop, basically making him go around behind Shedeur. But Shedeur doesn't do that here. And when you watch the play, you'll see that the left tackle actually bumps into Shedeur as he is throwing the ball. And you'll see that from the end zone view a little bit better. Let's go to that right now so you can see. And this is what I want to go ahead and point out. This is in a lot of Shedeur's film, him not stepping up. You can see there's the bump. Does that really affect the pass? I don't think that it does. It's just a bad read. But if you notice, this is just an example, one, of what you see throughout Shedeur's film a lot, which is not stepping up in the pocket. And that is something that really worries coaches and scouts, is why doesn't he want to step up into the pocket? And some would say, well, it's because of his offensive line. And that is a part of it. I know his offensive line wasn't great at times, but there are also moments, and I'm going to show you with the play right here in a moment, where if he just steps up, his line has everything picked up and he can go to another read. This is a play that I've talked a lot about with people because I think it's a great example of a few things. One, not every play is Shedeur's fault when it all kind of gets messed up. there's a lot of things that happen on the film that you're like, man, do I blame Shedeur for it? But also, this play gives a great example of what people were talking about with regards to Sanders in terms of getting through reads quicker, and then again, shuffling, stepping up, keeping yourself healthy inside the pocket. Because his offensive line, for the fact that everybody says it was an awful offensive line, they do a great job picking up the blitz here by Utah. So let me go ahead and just run the play so you can see exactly what happens. Shedeur, he's going to hit the top of his drop. Now that he's hit the top of his drop, he's making his read starting to the right. And what he's going to see is he has two receivers right next to each other, basically. They're within a yard and a half of each other. To me, this just means this is done. We're not even going to look at that anymore because they're too close together. Ideally, what you would like to have is this receiver right here. You would have liked for him to come outside the cornerback and then be outside the numbers to create that horizontal stretch, force that safety to kind of have to split the difference, create more spacing for Shedeur to make that throw. But that's not happening here. So to me, you got to come off of it sooner. So you might be saying, Big In, that's not his fault that those two receivers are running close together. And you're absolutely right. It's not his fault. But what I'd like to see is instead of drifting back like you're seeing here, I'd like to see him come off of it sooner. When I go back to the play, and let me go ahead right here, as we start 1, 2, 3, you don't like it. You should be able to see, hey, I don't got these guys. They're too close together. What I'd like to see instead of drifting back is slide to your left, hitch up because your line has picked up all the blitzes. Even though Utah's bringing a blitz from his left, everything is actually picked up correctly. And if Shedeur does that and immediately snaps his eyes to his left and finds the safety, he would see this safety has stopped backpedaling. He is instead going to be playing the slot receiver, and that allows you to throw the vertical go route right there. So in my evaluation, I would say, okay, it's not Shedeur's fault that this play is already kind of screwed up at the beginning, but I'd like to see him kind of fix it by going through that read progression faster. Okay, I don't have those two. Slide to my left, hitch up, eyes on the safety, safety stop. He's coming on my slot. Rip it deep, and that's a good play. And I think that this happens in his film quite a bit as well. This is an example of a play that will happen in film where he'll start just drifting, running out. And as you watch the play, when he runs out of the pocket, he runs to his left. That allows the defenders to kind of chase him, and he's got to throw it away because there's no one over there. It's a good idea. It's a good job at throwing it away, but there's also times where he holds on to the ball, takes an unnecessary hit instead of throwing the ball away earlier. And again, this is part of that quarterback evaluation. Are you making something great out of something that is bad? And to the right, receivers messed up, but are you able to shuffle, hitch up, and actually make the right read? And that's what you would like to see if this guy was a generational talent. Really the biggest reason that Shedeur dropped to the fifth round, and that is the interviews. We've started hearing kind of what's been happening with those. You have the fact that Tom McShay's talking about how the interview with the Giants didn't go well. Shedeur was given an install, didn't prepare for it, and when called out in the interview, got upset with being called out. Guys, when teams bring you in, they're going to want to talk about the things that you do well, but also the things that you don't do well, what your thoughts are with regards to that. They're also going to pull up film, talk about plays with you, go through it. And if they're trying to see, are you coachable? How do you react to what they're saying to you at times as well? Because they want to have an idea. Can we coach this guy? Is he going to be really good for us within the organization? And do we like him? And from all accounts, it sounds like Shedeur kind of thought that he was better than what he was and sandbagged some of these interviews as well. Albert Beer talking about how Shedeur was kind of like, well, maybe this isn't the organization for me when he was being asked about certain plays. And you contrast that with Jalen Milroe. Milroe, he went into his interviews and he was basically an open book. He talked about everything that he needed to get better at, everything that he was working on, things that went wrong on plays. In fact, teams were so shocked that he was doing this, they were like, doesn't this make you worried that we're not going to draft you? And Jalen basically was like, hey, you guys see it on the film. I got to be honest with you, or else you feel like you're going to think that I'm not being honest. And I think that's part of the problem. Shedeur kind of played himself in a way. Him and his dad were trying to get him to a specific location. And I think in the end, they actually hurt themselves more. Shedeur really probably, in my opinion, shouldn't have dropped to the fifth round. second or third round for him, I would have thought, okay, especially with the things that he needs to work on. But the problem is he decided to sandbag interviews and he dropped the fifth round. But those are the reasons why. I wanted to go ahead and talk about the fact that it's not a grand conspiracy like Stephen A. Smith is saying. Oh, they're colluding together. No, Stephen, you've never watched all 22 film. I suggest you actually do that so that you understand. People on social media also kind of, if you've ever said anything against Shedeur, you would be attacked. There were people saying earlier this year, people saying months ago, Shadeur's not a top 10 talent. And the minute they said it, they were being attacked by the Sanders, by the Sanders fans online. And so maybe also you had some media people not want to kind of rock the boat going in. And I've got my own opinions about Mel Kiper. Just a reminder, the guy screaming about how the NFL doesn't know how to evaluate quarterbacks for 50 years. He's the guy who had Will Levis as a top 10 pick 2 years ago. And we know what just happened with the Titans. So let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully, I kind of expressed why I thought all that happened. I don't think Shedeur is a terrible player. I just think he overvalued himself, kind of played a game with regards to the draft process, and it kind of came back to bite him in the end. But if he's humble enough to go in there and fight and really show everybody, hey, you messed up, fixes some of those issues that I talked about, he could end up being a steal and really helping the Browns out. So hopefully with the film, I was able to show you why NFL teams may not have had Shedeur as high as the analysts had him. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like. We'll see you next time in the film room. Have a good one. I do want to recognize the members of this channel at the booster level and above for their support. If you wish to have your name in a video just like this, make sure to check out the join link in the description below. Here on the end screen, you can see that there's another recommended video. Make sure to click that and watch it. Also, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future breakdown videos. I hope you have a great rest of the day.